it's part of the norm, and I think that's the bit where it's the game changer, especially for men, when it becomes not hippie, not fluffy, but just like you're going to have a beer or like you're going to watch a game, you're going to just drop in and sit for 20 minutes in the morning.
Yeah, like it is my purpose to make meditation cool, because if you make it look cool and you get the cool people doing it, what's it called? The crossing the chasm thing, how it goes, innovators, early adopters, influencers, and then the majority does it. So if we can get, we can make it attractive and make it look cool, more the cool people do it, and then everybody else will do it too. But it should look attractive. There should be products for men. Why not? There's right.
I agree, and there should be. I know that in LA, especially not so much here yet, but there's actually in main parts there's like unplug and meditation studios where people can just go and sit, and they're not sort of that sort of Eastern like Buddhist type centers where it feels a bit daunting to go in there. They're actually really clean, like a shop, and you're going in and you're sitting in and you're getting some space, and then you're walking out, a bit like a Soul Cycle type concept. And again, I like the concept because it makes it feel normal. It makes the normal person feel comfortable that they'd go and try that and not feel anxious.
Yeah, I think that's a big friction point for people actually starting to meditate now, right? Because I think yoga kind of had this about 15 years ago where, like, if you did yoga, like, you're Hindu now, and, like, if you're in a really Christian society, you're, like, going to hell. But no, I'm just stretching over here. I'm not worshiping anything.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just stretching out. Same thing with meditation. Like, it's a tactic to settle and ground and be a better person. And for having all those, like, spiritual barriers taken out of it, as far as, like, being religious in some way, it makes it much more approachable to everybody. Think about what would happen if everybody in the world meditated.
Oh, mate. And that's, for me, it's the bit like, I'm struggling with sleep. It's like, try this meditation, and then I'm stressed. Well, it's a multi-tool that, as you said, if everyone just did it and adopted it and gave it a go for a year, that people, the conscious shift in everyone would be astronomical. It would be amazing how different people would show up, especially if you could throw in a meditation where people then start to practice a little bit more kindness to themselves, but also to others, how the interactions would slow down and be nicer.
Yeah, I think it gets back to what we were talking about my, like, that superpower of going and talking to people. I think it's that, like, the kindness towards them, and the kindness of whatever, the things that are under the surface in their experience that's making them so angry about their tacos or whatever. Having some kindness and compassion of why they feel that way, or that might be their operating system, and how difficult it must be for them in the world when everything's such a big deal, and how everything must be overwhelming when that's the case.
Yeah, and that it becomes the norm, and getting upset and getting angry becomes comfortable. Like it's the default mode to be unhappy, because that's what I've practiced, and that's what my dad practiced, and that's my ecosystem of living, is to find the bad, not the good.
Yeah, and it's confusing when people come at you that way. Like, if you're used to yelling and then having people yell back at you, when people are nice to you and you're yelling at them, they're like, it makes them uncomfortable, because they're like, wait a minute, somebody just did some, like, emotional judo on me. I don't know what to do now, because the cues aren't there.
And and I think it's a little bit the same with fast pace. They might be nice people, but they talk and work, and at such a pace, and it's a rapid, everything's a rush. And then when you sort of step in and slow everything down, it's like the cues are changing, and it's like, why are we going slower? And it's like, but it's not to be less productive, it's to be clearer. So when we need to go, we can go, but we're going to go with clarity. And I look at it like you're actually on a journey, like you're riding through the night. It's like, if I'm lost, I need to stop. I can't ride, because if I keep riding at that pace and I'll go further, I'll get lost even more. It's even harder to get back. But we're not stopping to go, am I lost? Like, what's my purpose for being here? Like, what gives me meaning? Do I feel content? they just feel that this needs to, I'm on the train, I've got to keep going regardless.
Well, I think that's a position. Like people think you're a bad person, and they come at you, and then they say like, I knew that would happen, because they have the belief in that. And so Tony Robbins, a lot of people talk about changing people. You can't change people's beliefs. They have to change their own beliefs. And so when you're trying to fight somebody's beliefs, it's just not going to happen. And people will defend those beliefs even if they kind of know that they're wrong, because they've taken that position, and they'd rather maintain the wrong belief than admit that they're wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's with the coaching with people, and you'd be doing it with yours. It's taking them to the belief to then discover that it's wrong themselves, so then they can question it. And generally, with a bit of curiosity, works I find best. It's like if you've thought about this, and you'd be really open and curious about it, that they can explore it. Not even say it's wrong yet, but just to diffuse from it and unhook from it from a bit, and just see it from a different lens.
Yeah.
Like, it's so important to be able to do that, and you might still want to believe that. That's fine, but if you can unhook and see it just a few different ways, then that's power.
Yeah, I think it was Geshe Michael Roach that was talking about it in the Diamond Cutter book about, this guy, your boss, you hate him at work, and he just yells at you. But when he goes home, his daughter loves him, and he's the sweetest guy in the world to her. And so knowing that person isn't always that person is also really interesting. And it's the same for the situation.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. What was that book, The Diamond Cutter? Be interesting to see.
Diamond Cutter, yeah. It talks about, he was like this Tibetan monk or Buddhist monk of some sort, and then he went to New York and he got into the diamond business and applied Buddhist thought to management. Yeah.
And how do you, Alex, before we go, how are you continuing to grow yourself on that journey? Like, the yoga I get and the meditation is the business, and the Conrad Men's and the digital. Is that it now, or is there more development and more shifts in the next part of your journey?
Yeah, I read a lot, so I try to read. I alternate between like business books and spiritual books. I'm reading a ton. I'm taking in tons of information, and I practice. I sit. I do my Kundalini. I keep growing as a person. I'm in recovery, and in recovery we talk about how there's always a lower bottom. Like, you think it's bad now, wait till you're like smoking crack and living on the streets. But I've discovered that there's always another layer on top as well. Like, you always think you know what's going on in the world and what's going on with yourselves or the people that you're dealing with, but then all of a sudden you have this other level of awakening and this other new experience. So I keep an open mind, because again, I don't want to take a position, because if I'm taking a position, I'm not going to see the awakening, or I'm not going to see that next door opening. Yeah. And so I try to not take a position. I try to keep an open mind, and I try to be active about looking, right? And I know not everything is going to be a win, and I know not everything is going to be like another door. I'm not trying to chase the dragon, but I'm also kind of not closing my eyes to like the next thing that might float in front of me.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. For people listening, like, do you? The question I wanted to ask you: do you ship around the world, or are you just shipping the cushions and the bags in the US?
I do ship around the world. Just hit me up with an email on the website. You can only buy on the website directly in the United States. And France. Yeah, I got France on there as well. But I will ship around the world. You just have to email me directly, and we'll figure out what the shipping rates are going to be.
Cool. Yeah. Cool. So that's at conradmens.com.
conradmens.com.
And the other one was the digital. I didn't know as much about the digital business. So, and that's more for, is that anyone, or is that more specifically aligned to sort of more holistic wellness?
It's everybody.
Entrepreneurs and people?
It's called fastandlight.agency. So we've got everybody from the Moon Deck to, Rama Yoga Institute to this big Japanese knife company. We do a couple jewelry lines. We've got this female empowerment streetwear company. That's really fun. I like it, So we definitely try to, 90% of our clients are doing things that are really changing the world, which is really fun to be a part of.
Are you pretty particular in who you choose to sort of work with, that they need to align to the ethos of yourself and that, or is that just naturally just came about?
It's definitely come about. The only thing that I really look at is people that are going to be high maintenance or people that are never going to be happy.
Yeah. Cut a few out. Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
Cool. Mate, I really appreciate it because it's just been was just a really nice casual chat, but I really was good to get into, you know, how you think and in your journey and where you got to. And yeah, thanks, mate. I really appreciate it.
Anytime. If you're up here, let me know. Let's talk some more.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, so how was that? You know, it really resonated with me, the chat I got to have with Alex. It was an easy chat, and I wasn't sure how much people would have got out of it until I listened back to it and realised how much he put into it because it was so casual. So I really hope that you pick some stuff up from there through the coolness and the calmness and the way he talks, but just the nuggets that I mentioned earlier. So I really hope you liked it. We've got some other really great episodes coming up, so you know, make sure that you give me a rating on iTunes and hopefully a good one. Subscribe because I've got some really nice people coming on the podcast, and I'm really excited for the direction that it's going. It's a really beautiful journey and something that I'm really passionate about. But please take care, be kind to yourself, and be kind to others because I think that's really important. And you know, think about things that you can do that create shifts within this world because that's what we need. Take care until next time. This is Conscious Conversations, and my name's Luke McLean.